the Stinky Popcorn Boys.
We watch movies and eat popcorn. And you're stinky.
Hello. We are the Stinky Popcorn Boys, just some boys talking about movies and how they made us feel. I am Patrick Basquill, and for my 13th birthday, I honestly don't remember what I did.
You're a teenager now.
I'm a teenager now.
Like, does that put you in that mindset? Like, oh, fuck yeah.
I know, but I'm trying to think about what I actually did for my 13th birthday.
I probably saw Attack of the Clones or something. I think I might have.
Okay. We'll tell people who you are.
Yeah. And I'm John Gilardi, and it's John, not Gina. I don't know. That's my great little quiz.
John, not Gina.
It's a little, I guess, moment from the movie.
Yeah.
From the very beginning of the movie.
From the very beginning. And so today we are going to be talking about the 2004 movie that is not really about body swapping, but it like sort of is.
Yeah, it's like a fish out of water body swap.
So in the midst
Bunch
of
of
her major come-up, the Elektra star Jennifer Garner in 2004, who is the Patience of a Champion, and is from West Virginia, with Mark Ruffalo being fucking good and dressing very baggily, with enough 80s references to be like, oh, that's an 80s reference. A reminder to embrace the kid in you. For our 30th episode, we are watching and talking about 13 going on 30.
Get it?
Yeah, because it's our 30th episode, so...
That's, yeah, we're like, what movie has 30 in it? Oh, 13 going on 30.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not a bad movie. I had seen this before, and I did enjoy it. I think I saw a lot of rom-coms when I was a kid because my mom would have them on, and I would watch them. I'm like, oh, yeah. I mean, it's a good story. I think I'm enjoying the stakes and the roller coaster ride.
Yeah.
I mean, there's 10 Things I Hate About You.
Classic, fucking great.
There's the one.
Go right now. Your 5 top rom-coms.
I mean, I guess this one.
Okay.
The Ryan Reynolds Christmas one is pretty good.
Oh, fucking Just Friends.
Yeah. 10 Things I Hate About You, probably.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know like a comprehensive list.
That's okay.
They're
That's
on top
okay.
of my head. What about you?
I would say in no particular order, She's All That.
Which one's that?
That's Freddie Prinze Jr. And then Rachel something or other.
McAdams?
Not Rachel McAdams. Different Rachel.
I mean,
doesn't matter.
She's the Man count, or is that too like?
She's the man. I feel like She's the Man counts. All right, hold on. She's All That. When Harry Met Sally, classic, good. 27 Dresses, so fucking good. 10 Things I Hate About You would be on my list, but I feel like maybe it's just because we're talking about this like high school sort of movie.
How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days is a pretty good one. Hitch is a pretty good one. Now we're just naming it. I forgot.
Yeah.
I forgot.
So 13 going on 30.
13 going on 30. So here's a synopsis that I wrote.
Yeah.
Is Jenna Rink is a 13-year-old girl on the cusp of popularity, sort of, maybe. And she makes a wish at her 13th birthday party that has gone astray or something, and she wakes up in her 30-year-old self's body, thrust into that life with the consciousness of her 13-year-old self.
Yeah, so it's kind of like Big.
It's kind of like Big.
With elements of Parent Trap, with elements of it's any kind of fish out of water.
Yeah.
Because she time travels too.
Yeah.
She deals with technology and whatnot.
But Big doesn't time travel. It's just like literally.
I'm just saying like it has time travel elements. It has the Big element. It has the Parent Trap element with the kind of all these. Actually, I don't know about Parent. Whatever.
I don't know about. I like. It has the same vibe as Parent Trap, but it doesn't actually have Parent Trap vibe. You know?
Yeah. Well, I'm not talking vibe. Just like.
Or it doesn't have anything that really connects it to it, but it has the vibe.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying.
So what do you? What's your initial thoughts on this movie? You like it?
Yeah, I think that I do like it. I don't know if it's in my top.
Yeah.
But I do. It's weird because this movie doesn't get made anymore.
Yeah.
And this movie doesn't get released theatrically.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that for like a time capsule of both like kind of just getting like kind of like a female Big, more or less,
Yeah.
it's good.
Yeah, and I think it's way less creepy than Big too, with the
Yeah.
with the.
But I think that maybe is just because I don't know. It still is uncomfortable to me, and I think that's one of the reasons that the movie doesn't get.
One of my biggest like cringe look away moments when she goes to flirt with that kid,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh no.
It is kind of. It's like,
no.
oh, it's funny.
But she did. There's actually no. That's the furthest it goes in that direction, I guess, and then the other direction, she sees a guy naked a couple times, but that's
Yeah.
it, and she like covers him up. She's like, ew. So I think in terms of like how it's aged,
Yeah.
it's way better than something with Big, which is straight up like
He has.
he has sex with her, and she's like, and then she sees him transform back into a kid, and they have a knowing smile as they go away in the sunset. It's like, what the
and
fuck?
it's like,
Like that's weird.
and it just, and again, like, just think about how incredibly jarring. Just how incredibly jarring. Like, there's numerous ways that it would be incredibly jarring, but how jarring it would be to be a 13-year-old and then be a 30-year-old in a comfortable long-term relationship.
Yeah.
Because, like, you know, you just walk around naked, or it's like, hey, like, think about being like a 13-year-old boy, and then all of a sudden you're like with your wife or girlfriend, like long-term girlfriend in your apartment, and she's like, she just takes her top off in front of you, and it's like, oh, boobies.
Yeah.
And it's just like, but it would be so incredibly overwhelming. And then, like, it just would be like so like overwhelming and over the top, because you go from like, it's like this weird thing that eventually I'll get to, and then you're like, by the time that you're a grown up, it's like, yeah, okay,
Yep.
boobies, penis, it's what it is. It can be exciting and great, but it's also like, yeah, nice.
Yeah. There's definitely a normalization or desensitization with that in terms of the shock, I guess.
I mean,
I don't
listen,
know.
not desensitized,
Yeah, true.
not desensitized, but like
Yeah.
the
Either way, I think a big transition or good transition is how well that Jennifer Garner does.
Yeah.
I think she does act the job. She's really quirky in the like performance too. My memory of her as like a pretty stuck-up, kind of snobby person from all her paparazzi and being like, we rich people or famous people, we need our own restaurants and like all that stuff. I was like, man, she's stuck up. She probably still is, but like her performance kind of is way more goofy and quirky than that image, and I was really impressed with it.
That's one of the, I have that in my notes too, whereas like, man, she's got really great physicality. Like when she wakes up in her body and is as a 30-year-old and she's like moving around in it, I was like, man, she's got great physicality with it. Like she's moving like a 13-year-old through this body.
Mm-hmm.
And also her comic timing is pretty good. She's playing it up. She's being a 13-year-old, but it's not. It doesn't ever feel like over the top or forced. Like it feels.
Yeah.
It's really weird. It feels very honest.
Yeah, I think a lot of it in terms of the like what's the name?
Jenna Rank.
Jenna Rank. So the way she goes through the world as the 30-year-old, it's like she's living a fantasy. So that I think that's like the confidence she has and the ignorant bliss, and so it plays off really well. And I mean, it creates a lot of, I guess, comic gags too. But I must say, the young Judy Greer, and the Judy Greer casting is so good.
Yeah, they look
exactly the same.
It's funny because before I knew Judy Greer was in it, and we were in the beginning because I wasn't really paying. I was like, oh, Mark Ruffalo, yeah, nice. And then I was like, oh man, that little girl looks kind of like Judy Greer. Yeah. I was like, and then I was like, oh fuck, that's Judy Greer, huh? I wonder. Because before you like put
because the
two and two
tom
together.
thing doesn't tie together.
Yeah,
which is it's like a weird reveal.
Yeah, it is a weird reveal.
Or like it's a weirdly paced reveal because it's like, well, I don't know, but I think so the big turning point when she time travels essentially. So her best friend gives her a dollhouse, and she's a teenager. Dollhouse is for little girls, but she's still like she's she hides it to her cool friends and she puts it in the closet.
She handmade it.
And then they do this
he
seven
handmade
minutes in heaven thing, which sounds super rapey.
Yeah.
And at one point, one of the characters is calling it rapey.
Yeah, he says, "What
think
is it?
Mark Ruffalo.
Spin the rapist."
Yeah, I was like, oh shit, okay, thank you.
I was like, yeah.
Because I was just like, what? This is weird. So seven minutes in heaven is like, I guess, an old thing done in the 80s and early 90s and maybe even today. I don't know, but like, where it sounds so weird. Someone would just go in the closet and it would be like spin the bottle and then you go in there and.
Yeah, it's really weird. Like, it's just a weird concept because essentially you're just giving yourself an excuse to make out with the person, but you have to still pretend like you're still playing by elementary schools where you have to still pretend that you like don't want to actually kiss.
Yeah.
You don't actually want to be like, let's make out. But everyone is like, we have to figure out a game to kiss because we can't just be like, hey, I want to kiss you.
Yeah, that's true.
Excuse me.
It's like that weird roundabout way to. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It's a weird thing. I was actually thinking about this, because we had my 8th grade formal at this like clubhouse thing, and there was like an after party. It's, again, 8th grade formal, but we had like an after party, and my friend's mom drove us to the after party, and it's like there's like a weird implicit knowledge where you're like, these kids are gonna try and like kiss girls, and they like, it's just like parents just got to be like, hey, these, I don't know. It's just like, it's just, I don't know. I just had that thought where it's like, especially now coming up where I'm like older and like seeing kids being like, walk off and be like, we're gonna go for a walk, and it's like, these kids are gonna fucking make out, aren't they? And you're just like, I guess as a parent, you're just like, they're gonna do it.
Yeah. I think we live in enough of a college town, or maybe it's the area of town because the families are more on the northern side of the town, but I don't see like kids or even high school kids a lot.
Yeah.
And I haven't in abundance in the last 10 years, and it's been amazing.
Yeah.
When I go to Richmond, it's a very like high school aged kids, that demographic just reigns supreme.
Yeah.
There, so it's always a stark thing. So it's like it is different. So where we are in Wilmington, hey, if you don't want to see like mall rats and high schoolers like taking over this town, it's a good place to come. But
yeah,
unless
you got kids who are gonna be like teenagers.
Yeah, true. I mean,
get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
I guess all that to say is like, it's nice.
Yeah,
because this movie. And it's obviously turned up to 11, but the shittiness of like sociopathic, like middle school politics is insane. And there's a lot of realism there that, like, I guess I said it was turned up to 11, but there's a lot of like, there's a lot there that like I saw that
there's seeds of it. It's weird how mean fucking middle school kids are.
Yeah.
Like I do remember like, it's like, oh, you have a plain colored t-shirt. You must be fucking poor and stupid. You have no style sense.
Yeah.
Look at this guy with his plain T-shirt.
Well, it's just like anything, like
dandruff,
or you got a little deodorant on your shirt, or
you
just have some BO.
You're not allowed to have fucking flaws.
Yeah. And it's middle school is so fucked up.
Middle school is so weird. It's like you shoving the most judgmental kids together, at like the weirdest time in their lives. And then it's just like, that's just a weird time.
Yeah. Isn't Bo Burnham's movie 8th Grade supposed to be kind of around those things and pretty good?
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah. We should watch that.
We should watch that.
It's a follow up here.
Yeah. Follow up.
And then isn't it Pen 15 is about?
Pen 15 is very good.
But it's like women, like older women are playing middle school. It's such a good concept.
It's very good.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty. I guess an interesting thing that it
That's
looks
like one
at
of
is the trajectory it sets. Like stupid fucking petty shit as stupid fucking kids, how much impact that has on your trajectory of your relationships, of your friendships, of your life,
how
your
you
career.
treat people.
Yeah, your outlook. And it's like, damn, like that's when everything is stupid like that, that's when our trajectory is set. I mean, I remember it was in 6th grade, and I was actually a pretty talkative, like yappy yap, like fun kid, and I would like talk to people, and like I don't know, I would have done stage shows and stuff, but I was just talking to this one guy. I thought I was friends with, and I guess I was annoying him, and he looked at me with so much hate and said, "Shut the fuck up." In 6th grade. And after that, I've been a reserved, quiet kid. So it's real. Like the shit that happens in middle school, like that can really lay down a hard trajectory
Yeah.
of who you are.
Well, it's like, again, the other side of it is like,
Also, fuck that guy.
Yeah, fuck that guy. But it's like, well, you don't know, like, fucking middle schoolers don't have empathy. And it's like, maybe he was going through like a really shitty time in his life, but it's like, it still doesn't give you an excuse to be like an asshole to a person.
Yeah.
Just like, and that's like, people don't, I guess, understand or something. Or you don't understand that when you're in 8th grade.
Yeah.
I was, I don't know, not quite that guy, but I twisted up ketchup packets and like, exploded them, and they got on this guy's white sweater, and he was like really upset about it. And
he never wears white clothing again.
Never wears white clothing again. And they made me, and I remember being like, he complained to the principal about it, and this is, kind of me being an asshole, and they were like, you got to write a letter and give him $15 or something like that to like help him pay for the shirt. And so I wrote him a letter. I was like, oh wow, I'm so sorry. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, it's so shitty of me to do. And I like gave it to him, and I remember like whispering to me like, I'm not fucking sorry. Like I was just like, I would do it again.
It's like a
and like
shady business
like
deal.
I think I remember I showed him a ketchup packet, and like even after that I would like chase him with ketchup packets and be like, oh.
No, he doesn't wear. I mean, he might wear white clothes, but I think he has a condiment fear or something now.
But again, like, that's not a good thing that I did. I'm not saying. I'm not like defending it, but it's just like, like, again, I was closer to the asshole.
Yeah.
And like people would laugh at me in class when I was like loud and stuff, and so it's like now I'm loud and people are like that, like, and that's who I am.
Yeah.
That's funny. Because I remember in 6th grade for me, I was coming from a charter school. Now we're just talking about middle school, but I was coming from a charter school where like it was like kind of like free learning, read, do your shit. And like I was like kind of ahead of everybody, so I was just like kind of cool. And I was like not used to that many people talking and like that many different groups of people. The class sizes went from like 12 to like 33.
Yeah.
And so I was like very quiet. And then I don't know if there was like a specific time that was like, but people, if there was like a specific incident where there was like, oh, you can be a funny kid or something.
Yeah.
And like that's
all it takes is the spark.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, that's what I am. Yeah.
Funny guy.
I'm the funny guy. So I went from having like all like A's, 98, 99s in 6th grade to in 7th grade I was like, oh, 89, like pretty good. By the time I was in 8th grade, I was like we read the Diary of Anne Frank, and I was the asshole upstairs, and I read it like William Shatner. And the English teacher got so mad at me that he was like, you can't play this part anymore, because it was like a play that we were reading.
Yeah.
And the class was like, well, we're not going to read the play then. If Pat, you're not going to let Pat
ruin it for
do his William Shatner voice for this, for the guy, for the not Anne Frank's dad. Which is like, that poor fucking, oh my God, I was such a bad student.
So, a lot of the film deals with, so again, Jenna is like a good-hearted, nerd at heart, wholesome girl, but she's dealing with the pressures of wanting to be popular. She has a falling out with her best friend, who's a nerdy photographer dude.
He writes her a song. He makes her a dream house for.
He has a Casio. He's a cool guy.
Yeah.
And then so she gets transported to the future, and she realizes she has everything she wanted, but she in time learns that she's a terrible person. It's
pretty funny too, because
also didn't realize that Andy Serkis was the editor-in-chief until just now.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Gollum Smeagol
underappreciated.
Yeah.
I would say underappreciated as a whole.
I think he's given a lot of creative freedom as a creator, which is pretty good.
Yeah. But I think it's just really funny. It's just really funny to me that she is such a bad person. Like, it's so funny. Like,
She
it is kind
tries
of,
to be a bad person.
yeah. And I think especially in this time where we're like all going through COVID and we're like sitting in and there's like, you know, there's not a lot of like moving forward. So you're thinking about like the stuff in the past.
Yeah.
And so you're like, shit, I could have done this, I could have done that, or whatever. And this movie is kind of like a good, like, sort of like reminder, like, peek into like, hey, what would my 13-year-old self think of me right now? Or like, how would they, like, what would they think, or what would they start doing different?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I think it made me question and think about that. It made me think about, because there's one point where she's kind of like, fuck, I suck. And she goes back to her home, and it's a really kind of a lot of good like imagery, or a lot of good like vulnerable imagery, of just like someone at their low and kind of accounting for what they've done. I don't know. I guess it hit me in a strong way.
Yeah, same.
But then she like she's with her parents, and she asks them like, hey, like, what would you do if you had to go back and do anything differently? And they said no, because they've lived a good life.
It was just her mom too.
Yeah. But I don't know. Like, it kind of like makes you think like, shit, you know. What I know there's some things I would do differently for sure. I have regrets.
But that's a dangerous path to walk down.
Yeah, but I think a lot about it. If I look back at a trajectory, which I said earlier, you know, like life, huge decisions. You know, I don't think I would change anything. You know, I'm like happy with who I came out as a person, or the career I went down, or stuff like that. So. I don't know. I guess in terms of my inward reflection, I guess I don't know. I'm sharing, but that, but it did bring up a lot.
John is like, yeah, I really don't. I'm fucking perfect. I feel good. Like, there's some things that like maybe I would change.
I have for sure some stuff I want to change.
Yeah,
I'm not going to get into, but
no, I know that's not this podcast.
But in broad strokes, yeah, we should just.
Hey guys, we're actually going to take a break and just like really dive into
our personal lives.
Our personal lives. I just want to talk about 8th grade again. For me, I really got bad acne. You know.
We just talk about each grade and all the shitty things, or is it just a podcast dedicated to like the shittiest moments in our lives?
Oh man, that's called therapy.
Yeah,
that's just called therapy.
It's like, I wonder if anyone's done that, where their therapy has been, the masses.
I'm sure
in a podcast format.
I mean, that's what Dax Shepard does.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Armchair Expert, where it's like, again, kind of like a continual.
Yeah.
I haven't listened to much of it. I've listened to little segments of it, but yeah. Anyway, 13 going on 30.
She's a shitty person.
She's a shitty person.
But it's a redemption arc, and it's a weird redemption arc because the soul of this 13-year-old isn't a shitty person. She just made a couple really shitty decisions that she personally made that we saw in the beginning.
Yeah.
And so I guess she's dealing with that. It's like a weird.
It's a weird butterfly.
It's a weird thing.
Yeah,
it's a butterfly, because she made one or two shitty decisions that made her go down a path of hundreds and whatever of shitty decisions that made her a bad person.
Well, because
so it's like she's still so even though she didn't do all these things consciously, she's still repenting for bad decisions that she did make at the beginning of the movie.
You know what? I wish that we had. Like, I wish that there was a scene in this movie, which doesn't fit into this movie.
Yeah.
Because this is, and I maybe want to talk about this, like how I said, like, this movie doesn't get made anymore.
Yeah, I'm interested about that.
But I wish the scene that I want to see is like maybe she goes to her Jenna, the 30-year-old Jenna's like favorite bar.
Yeah.
Or she goes to her therapist or something like that, or she like reads her diary. And like she sees how, like she's able to see herself in her future self. Like, that would be kind of an interesting thing if there was like some sort of like tying together. If she was like, I really miss my parents, like, and we kind of get that.
Yeah.
But it is very much like we don't see any of that because we're just seeing the one side of the 13-year-old soul story in this 30-year-old.
Yeah. I mean, or better yet, and maybe this is what you were touching on, but she sees a diary or gets a flash. She gets some information that lets her on that the shitty Jenna
Is still her.
is still her, but she's been making shitty decisions, being shitty
Yeah.
due to outside pressures, due to self-esteem issues.
Yeah.
And and that could then humanize the shitty version of her, which would, I don't know if it'd lessen the redemption arc, but I think it would
I think it would.
it would do the gray villain, the moral gray villain instead of a black and white villain, because she's a black and white villain.
Yeah. It does
yeah.
kind of feel like the screenwriters, or the writers of this movie, were like, "Hey, how fucking awful can we make this 13-year-old girl, but still give her everything she wants?"
Yeah.
Because in the end, spoiler alert, whenever she is the person who's been selling the
Tips.
covers or the tips to the other magazine, it's like,
so the big one of the big storylines is that the magazine she works for is kind of going down in the dumps, and we learn it's because she's selling
their ideas to their competitor.
So she's doing, we'll call it corporate espionage. She's sleeping with a married man.
Yeah, a skeezy married man who does not seem like he fits her vibe.
No, that was weird.
I understand that people, they got different vibes, and they're like, you know what, maybe I want a dirty troll person, or something, and there's beauty in everybody.
Even the guy at the bar, she's like, "Oh, cutie's looking at you," and it's like, "That dude?
That dude's cute.
Yeah,
Is that dude cute?
I don't know.
I don't know if maybe I don't understand 2004 beauty.
New York City vibes,
but Mark Ruffalo's cute. The hockey player's cute. He's a goofball.
I want to see Paul Rudd play a 40-something-year-old hockey player still hanging on by a thread in the NHL, and he's a fucking idiot. Paul Rudd caricature.
Okay.
Judd Apatow comedy. I don't know what he's going for, what his struggles are, what the hook is, but those variables I want to see used.
Steve Carell's in it too.
Yeah, Steve Carell can be the hockey coach.
Because he's good at hockey.
Yeah.
He's good as shit at hockey.
That's
I
don't know, because the hockey stud, the New York Ranger hockey character.
Yeah.
He's pretty good at being
He's a goofball.
Yeah.
He's a goofball. I love it. I love the line where he's like, there's a line where he's like, "Sorry, I was making a joke because I'm in a good mood."
I have it down.
I wrote it down too. I wrote it down too.
And he does the douche laugh.
He's like, what the fuck is the line?
Oh man, I crack a lot of jokes after we win.
Because I'm in a good mood. Yeah. But that's I'm sorry. I crack a lot of jokes when I'm in a good mood because we won or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh man, but this.
Well, I guess we can kind of go into Mark Ruffalo's character and that storyline, that form of redemption.
Well, I also want to I want to double back because I had this thought. You're talking about the time streams or the 13-year-old in the body of the 30-year-old in the buddy. What the fuck? And I was just thinking about kind of maybe a good transition to talk about Mark Ruffalo's character and everything.
We have Ragnar,
Ragnar
the dog
back in the office.
He perfectly paused
it with his big old head.
Like it looked deliberate. It was weird.
He's like, "Hey, fucking stop, guys."
Yeah.
So this 13-year-old is coming in and completely changing this person, and so by all, again, I'm not a time travel expert or anything like that.
Yeah.
Whoever is, come and talk to us.
Magic pixie dust.
But so she's a 13-year-old and she travels ostensibly to a different time stream, more or less, where she's already 30, because it's not her time stream because that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
And so she travels to this 30-year-old where she's followed through. It's the split off of this. This is where you could go. And so she has already, she's already made these decisions, and, this Generaink is kind of shitty. And so she's going to go back to this 13-year-old girl, and she's and at the end, I was worried that she's completely fucked up this man's life. Yeah. Because they reconnect, and she's cool and fun again, and not
heart.
And so Mark Ruffalo is oh my gosh, should I marry this person? because he's like fianced to a lady.
And he's put in such a hard position.
I know, and he's like, oh my god. And then like also his like fiance is like, you should move to Chicago, or go ahead and move to Chicago now. And he's like, and then he gets like this good gig taking photos for this big magazine, which is like probably a pretty good gig.
Yeah.
They we're like, we assume that that's a pretty good gig. And and it's like,
And then she almost does like the wedding cancel thing.
yeah, they almost do fucking like Mrs. Robinson thing.
Yeah, which I mean, there's so much about the Mark Ruffalo character and story. I guess Matt is the character and his
Yeah.
storyline, his performance. I like so much
Mark Ruffalo is so good.
because I mean, like everything you just said, his character's in such a difficult position, and he's almost like it's weird because obviously Jennifer Garner, Jenna Rink is the main character. And being the main character, usually they're your surrogate for emotions along the ride. But Mark Ruffalo serves as such a good surrogate.
Because he is the audience. He's like reacting to her as she's doing the wacky shit.
And I just love, like he still loves her, and the way that he's holding on, like because like there's so many times where he's trying to leave, and it's like it's almost ad nauseum, and she says, "Hey Matt," and he always turns around.
Yeah.
And he turns around with a smile. And he always comes back.
Because it's his friend. It's his friend that he remembers. And then...
and also just, it makes me happy to see him happy and them happy as old like friends rekindling.
Yeah.
And it's just like...
Well, and for it to feel real, too, which is,
Yeah.
again, a testament to Mark Ruffalo and Jennifer Garner. Jennifer Garner playing a 13-year-old in this 30-year-old and being honest with it. And then Mark Ruffalo in that first scene where he's like, hey, yeah. And then he's like, okay, he's treating her like she's on drugs. She's like, okay, yeah, let's talk about this. Let's move through this. Do you want a cup of water? And it's just funny because I like wrote it down. It's like he is treating her like she's on drugs.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm not gonna like placate you and give into you what you're doing, but I am gonna acknowledge and like talk to you very quiet. I'm not gonna blah blah blah. But it's just funny because it carries over that whole energy throughout all of it. The like just the honesty of it.
Yeah.
Which
Just the wholesome, I guessness of it.
yeah.
I will say that the thriller scene was kind of, I guess, cringe level in terms of just felt like the obligatory like dance. I don't even know what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the magazine's having a big party to like test their brand power, I guess.
They're just having a big party.
Yeah.
It's not important to this movie.
Yeah. But
I mean, it is, but it's like
the point of it is it's a testament to the failing or success of this stupid magazine, and it's not going well. So then our main character puts on a thriller 80s song,
time to show how a 13-year-old can make adults party.
and then they just dance and do the Thriller and like a dance number, which like to me, I mean, this is a outlandish concept, but like it's mostly grounded besides the time traveling.
I think that would work.
But but
It wouldn't make people stay, but it would make it more fun.
it would make it more fun, 100%. I think as a concept, yes,
Yeah.
that's great, especially when 80s nostalgia wasn't as much of a thing as it is today.
Yeah.
So then it would have maybe felt more fresh and awesome, but it just felt like it was a scene in a movie more so than a thing. Which maybe I'm just being a tool. Like it's not a realistic or it's not a grounded realism film. It's a fantasy, but it's still, I don't know. I just hate I hate those moments in movies.
It does. It does feel like a scene in a movie. Like it feels like, wow, haha. She got them all to come together because of the thing that she was getting made fun of, and we saw her do that dance in a second in her basement.
Yep.
But
I don't get the gag at the same party that we're talking about where
she's throwing food.
She's throwing food around. Like she seems like a reasonabally good kid.
Like even as a 13-year-old
who wouldn't litter or do anything, but at this party she's like eating shrimp and throwing it,
or
eating
she has
a
a
pineapple
kebab and just tosses it away.
And it's a weird gag. It's just a weird gag in the movie. I don't get it. There's like, is it supposed to be character development? Is it supposed to be humor?
Yeah, get up here, Ragnar.
Because it doesn't work as either.
It doesn't. It also doesn't make sense for her for her character. Oh, he's caught my cord. Oh gosh. Okay.
Oh, we got dogs in here. Yeah, I guess you guys. You want to do the good and bad?
Yeah, I got some.
Oh, I guess the ending. I do want to speak specifically about.
I have some.
You want to do that first?
Yeah, let's do the ending. Let's talk about that.
So the ending.
Well, hold on. We're talking about Mark Ruffalo. So,
Yeah.
there's a moment where they're like coming together, and again, most of the stuff is pretty good. With it, but it does have that. Again, like sort of the producer and me, who's like organized and produced like like commercials and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The part where she's like, I have this great idea, and it's good stuff, and
For her magazine
for
redesign.
her magazine, they're doing a redesign,
Yeah.
and he's like, who organized this budget? Who approved the budget
That's
for the
the
photo
rom-com
shoot?
thing.
I
They
know.
don't care.
I know that I don't care, but they
No.
have like major talent. They have like crazy locations all across New York,
Yeah.
which is not inexpensive to shoot in
For a photo shoot.
for a photo shoot for something that they're not sure that they're going to go with.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's a Hail Mary. But also,
And also how
who's controlling the budgets and realize we're having two separate budgets for two different redesigns because her
or
Judy
even-
Greer does her own thing too.
or even just the pitches for the redesign.
Yeah.
And then also, how do those photos get to Sparkle? The competitor's magazine's name is Sparkle. Her magazine's name is Poise.
Because the release hadn't been signed yet, so Judy Greer drafted.
There's no fucking way that they just
the, like,
hand him a
actual
check.
yeah, true,
They just
because
hand
this
him
isn't
I noticed
digital.
that. I noticed that when it's like,
It's not the digital age.
I know that it's 2004.
No, I'm saying it's not even then because those are film.
Like, there's no, like, there's no way. Again, I know rom-com and I'm over-examining it, but it's like, that just like sort of bothered me where it's like, oh wow, like,
It's just that simplification shorthand.
yeah.
It's I know I always come at you with that whenever you question things. But it's like I don't know.
I
Like,
know.
In this case, it's definitely that. Like if this was a movie about
Being a magazine editor, if it was like
Yeah.
Devil Wears Prada or something like that, there
Yeah.
would be like something. And then it could also even be like, I feel like they could have worked it in, and I know that I'm just being picky, but I feel like they could have worked it in where it's like,
just a throwaway line.
yeah, well they could have worked it in where it's like she doesn't have the budget, so she's got to kind of like cobble something together that's
Yeah.
like a little bit more homey and a little bit more real, and maybe she like looks at her money.
Which was what it feels like. Besides the talent in the shoot and the
Yeah.
scaffolding, the major scaffolding on major locations, just to drop balloons.
Yeah,
Just like I don't know. It feels a little like it's like the rom-com equivalent of spectacle, I guess.
yeah,
It's like there's like these montage moments of just where things come together
yeah.
at a really over the top way. If I'm trying to think of a better word.
But it's still nice. Like, it's still nice, but I am just like being like, I was just watching it being like, who approved this?
Yeah.
She didn't go to any, like, we don't, I mean, maybe she did.
I guess
and we
it's
don't
just
need
how
to
much
see
power and respect and fear she gave off. So maybe she was
Yeah.
just taking advantage of it.
Yeah.
As a someone with a plan.
Yeah. I get that. But it's like, I just
But
also
during that, so through that shoot, which is important, she hired, which we mentioned earlier, Mark Ruffalo's character, the photographer, Matt. So the relationship grows. They realize they realize there's something there, but he has a fiance, and there's some denial, but they're like still chasing the feeling because it makes them happy. And then
it's a remembrance thing.
Yeah.
You know, I remember how this made me feel.
and then
And this person is back in my life and being the person that I remember liking.
and then the wedding day comes, and Mark Ruffalo's character realizes you can't wind back time, and he made his decision. His trajectory was set.
Yeah.
And I guess the lesson was that, you know, maybe I think it was the acknowledgement of the supernatural force kind of jarring his life's plan.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, and it's also like you can't throw away 2 years based off of 2 weeks or 2 months or
Yeah.
whatever. You know?
And the Wendy, the fiance Mark Ruffalo, Mark Ruffalo's fiance, isn't shown as a bad person at all.
Yeah.
I mean, she's like kind of forcing his hand in terms of moving, but that's not really, I guess.
But that's also
Bad.
like, hey, come on, listen, you're gonna be together forever. I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to
Start our
marry
life.
you and be long distance.
Yeah.
That's not fun.
No.
So
So it's a really sad scene
it is a really sad scene.
because it's like one of those scenes where it's like, I love you so much, I want to be happy, and obviously I'm not going to ruin your life or do this things. Like he's even like, that's her family down there.
Yeah, it is funny.
Which is such a simple line, but it's just like, I guess it like grounds the reality. Like the fantasy's over.
Yeah,
Um,
it is like, it was very impactful that she got married, or he got married at his house.
yeah,
So their like prep house was her childhood home, which is like, was like, oh shit.
no, they were neighbors, so I think it was.
They
his
were
home.
no, they were neighbors. I think no, they were in her literal house. I'm pretty sure. Or I don't know.
think
There
he-
was something. And I know
yeah.
that he had the thing, and she like went,
So he gave her the dollhouse back, and and that was like the moment where you think like, dang, is he gonna run away? And he's like, I still love you, here, this thing, but
I gotta move on.
and it's so interesting the way when they say goodbye and have made their decision, the way he's looking down felt very theatrical in like a supernatural sense, like on a play, when the main talent's breaking the fourth wall and narrating.
Yeah.
It felt like then the rest of the people in the scene, they're frozen looking away. Like it felt to me, I don't know why I took it like this. I don't think it was designed like that. But the way he looked down and paused and she left the room kind of gave me that, like, it's a simulation. It's the fantasy at play, building the lessons for her.
Yeah. Well, I think too
Or it just was him sinking in the feeling of the shit. This is shitty either way.
Yeah. And then I think it's also too, it's like, you don't want to watch her leave.
Yeah.
Because then it's like, then I have to follow her, or like, then you just have to like be like, I guess this is where I am now.
Yeah.
I can't look to what that was or what that might be, because I have to be here, which is, I mean, I think that it's a really good way to make everybody come out on top.
Yeah.
Because you can't have Mark Ruffalo leaving his fiance. I mean, you can. There's
But that would've
precedent
been-
for it, but it's like,
Yeah.
there's not as much growth,
Mm-hmm.
And I think that really completes their cycle in this out of time, like, moment where she needs to learn her, like, Scrooge lesson or whatever, where it's like, that's what completes it. Is like, hey, I have to live my time. I have to live what I've got. Like, it doesn't matter. Because that's another thing, that there was never in this movie, there was never the like, oh my gosh, you really are a 13-year-old.
Yeah. Because it's never acknowledged, or it's like in movies with like these kind of twists, it's always like someone buys into it. Someone believes them.
Like
someone,
17 again.
Yeah.
Is it his son or his best friend?
I'm not sure.
I don't remember, but like his best friend is like, you look like young Matthew Perry or whatever, Or there's always someone who is also in on it. Thank you, Ragnar. Yeah, thank you. Where are you going, bud?
But then, so I think she leaves and goes. She leaves and she wishes she wants to be 13 again. So she starts off the movie wishing she was 30. At the end, she wishes she was 13. So she goes back, and she goes back to that party where
everything went wrong.
Yeah, where that schism was, where she sent Mark Ruffalo off and ruined their relationship. At that moment, she kisses him, and then we get a flash forward to their wedding, and it's awesome. And they are moving into a house. The one thing is, did they wait as high school sweethearts wait until they were 30 to get married? Because high school sweethearts with that true 1 in a million love
Yeah.
would have been married by between 19 and 23 for sure.
Yeah.
At least after college.
Oh,
to
for sure.
see the test of their relationship.
Well, and that's also something, as I was going to say, it's like, yo, you change so much from the time that you're 13 to when you're
Just got a nut slap by the dog.
from to when you're 29 even, or like fucking 22. It's like the person that you are when you're 13. And I think that you should change. If you stay the same person, you are missing out on stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you're missing out on different perspectives and opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
And those people exist who stay the same their whole lives, but it's like, and maybe they're happy, but it is not me.
Yeah.
You know? And so it's just like, that's one of the things to me that's like, yay, they got together, but it's also like, I almost would prefer if like we saw that she was just not an asshole and maybe they were still friends.
Yeah.
Like, maybe they dated, but again, that's also not a rom-com. That is real life. What I am describing is more real life than
Yeah,
rom-com.
I mean, that's more compelling in terms of that. Like, I think that's more compelling. But after an hour and 30 minutes, it's like, boom, it's a happy ending. Yay.
Yeah, they married.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm happy for them. It's like it's a real couple.
It's just
But
fictional
ultimately, I do feel like it's so simplified.
couple. Yeah.
But it's a fairy tale in a sense, a modern fairy tale, you know.
I also just want to take a moment for that wish juice, that wish dust.
I know. Where can I get
It's
that?
like, hey, this fucking wish dust. Hey, this wish dust will last for a good 28 years. Go ahead and there's at least 28 years. This wish dust will last as long as you keep it in a good environment.
Or just because
Because
it's
it's
potent shit.
It's man, it's good. It sent her back to when she was 13. It sent her to when she was 30. You know, that's some high quality wish dust.
Yeah.
Now, if you got that Costco wish dust, that stuff usually only lasts about 14 years. So you can only do so much.
So do you have your likes and dislikes?
Yeah, my cool shit. I got some cool shit. I got Jennifer Garner. Fucking, I wish that I saw her in more comic stuff. You know, the couple of things we've already talked about is, you know, Jennifer Garner being really cool and having great comic timing and stuff. And maybe that's at play in Alias, and there's like a little bit of juice and playing with that. Mark Ruffalo, again, being like really realistic and honest. And I know that he didn't write it, but like his portrayal of the character made it good and made it like fun. And just, again, the choice to not leave. And again, I know that he didn't write it, but the choice to not leave is a really strong, good choice.
Yeah. It was like the coward's choice would have been, I guess, that they ended up happy together in that universe.
Yeah.
But then she wouldn't have learned any lesson. Or,
Yeah.
I mean, she learned her lesson, but also his weird floss nails.
The mirroring of like actual trends in like marketing, I feel like, of the time, where it's like, yeah, they did go to kind of a little bit more of hey, here's lifestyle. Like they went away from like regular Molly stuff, and they did go towards like
it's so brief, but it's such a good commentary.
Yeah.
I guess on that.
Really, the cast. The cast is really good. Andy Serkis is really fun. The moment that where he's like, do you think he's gay? Is he gay? And she's like, are you gay? And he's like, and it's just like, he's just like, oh, honey, of course. And Brie Larson being a 6 girl.
No.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, dude. Boom.
No way.
Yeah.
I'm going to rewind the movie.
Yeah,
that we
take
have
it
in
all the way
background.
back. Take it all the way back, my guy. Brie Larson is a 6 girl. I'll point her out to you. There she is, right there.
Wow.
Right there, that's Brie Larson.
So weird.
Yeah.
That's Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel. The weird shit that I got. Who was the editor-in-chief of Sparkle before? if they were already promising her the job to be editor-in-chief, and they could just
I think that
of a major magazine.
I think the frizzy-haired girl was going to move up.
Okay.
And her successor would have been Jennifer Garner.
Okay. I mean, it's still like you're just able to just give that job away. Anyway.
I mean, if they're booming, they're expanding.
If
you know,
they're
if the
booming,
co-
they're okay. All right.
I guess I can add a weird thing.
Add a weird thing.
Is she does a lot of whispering in her performance for a lot of the movie, especially when she's like shocked and confused.
Oh, Jennifer Garner does.
Yeah, and I was like, it's fine, but it's just like, I don't know. I think it was a performance thing and not a character thing,
Yeah.
and it's not bad or good.
It is a weird thing. It's just a thing that is there.
Yeah.
Hey. Ragnar was trying to eat a mic. Sorry. The wish dust, I already said, it's like the fact that there's no like witch or anything like that. It is kind of like really weirdly self-contained.
I do think the fact that it's stupid and simple automatically disqualifies it from being overanalyzed or questioned or
Yeah.
just the technicality, I
Yeah.
guess.
Well, and the fact that there was no, I don't mind it. It's not a bad
What the
weird
hell was
thing.
the casting call for this guy?
Dave, kind of sleazy guy.
Yeah.
Hey, sleazy something man.
So the married man, on the background, we have the scene where the married man comes in. I don't know where the heck they cast this guy.
Who did this get this guy?
He looks like Nicolas Cage's like long lost cousin.
He does. He does look like a Nicolas Cage knockoff.
Yeah.
Maybe that's like Nicolas Cage knockoff. Yeah, and I think for like the wish dust, like I like that it's in my like weird stuff, but also I do like that they never feel the need to be like, hey, this is the magic that we're doing and you have to accomplish, or she's like, I must have to accomplish this goal.
True.
She's just like, hey, I'm 13 and I'm a 30-year-old now, so I got to figure out what's going on.
I mean, she was almost ready to live with it.
Yeah. Which is just like an interesting thing. Even that, like, her physicality with the stuff is so fucking good. Like the little things that she does. 13 is too young to be with someone forever. We already talked about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's possible and I think it exists, but it's definitely
It's
there's a lot of change going on. You know, you have the change within middle school. You have the change with the couple changes that happen within high school.
Yeah.
And then about the dozen or so changes that happen in college.
yeah.
And then the final kind of meandering and sort of setting of who you are and as you're in your 20s and early 30s. There's just a lot going on. And so I mean, that's a testament to the true love, I guess, if that's a thing. But.
Yeah, I mean, good on you if that's your jazz. I never heard of Razzles before.
Yeah. Me
Never
neither.
heard of Razzles. And then
It's like a gum candy that changes your tongue.
They
bond over it.
It's like a candy, but then there's gum in the center of it, so it's like
Okay.
a Tootsie Roll or something. Like not a Tootsie Roll, but like how many licks they get to the center of the fucking blow pop. And then the other thing is like this movie just doesn't get made anymore.
Why do you think that?
Because this is like in that weird, probably like $25 to $40 million, depending on the scale. And it's like, if it's not an Oscar movie or it's not a big budget like tentpole movie, it doesn't get released theatrically.
Yeah, I guess what Netflix is in the streaming services has stepped in.
Like there's no, I don't think that there's, because like even a rom-com has to be, I don't know, you just don't see them that much anymore unless they are holiday specific.
Which is easy to get people out to theaters for those.
Yeah.
Which obviously not this year, but
No, not this year. Not ever again. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I love going to the theaters.
The experience. Like I used to go by myself all the time.
Oh my God, Movie Pass was so good. I used to do that. All the time. I would drop my brother off at like a thing, and I'd go watch a movie and then pick him up.
Nice.
It was so much fun for me to just do it by myself.
I think the first time I went to go see a movie alone, I was ashamed. But I was like, this is great. I love this.
Yeah.
This is like, I like doing things alone. I'm not like a isolationist or a hermit or anything, but like, I don't know, just like I've been on like trips alone and like
Yeah.
out. I've done like classes out where I get a Airbnb and I'm alone, and I have enough social interaction with the class or the thing or the conference or whatever it is. But I don't know. It's fun being out.
I
And
feel like
I guess I started to feel that with going to the theater alone.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I like going to the movies alone. Not in like I just like movies.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're doing a podcast about watching movies and stuff. But yeah, I just don't. It's like weird because I just don't think that this gets made anymore, and it doesn't get made in the sort of like candy way that this gets made.
Yeah. I mean,
Where
and comedy's also just dead too.
but it's not dead. It's like in
It's infused.
yeah, because I just don't think it's like I'm trying to like have my thought and say it out loud at the same time, and now I'm talking about it, and so I'm not having the thought that I want to say. Now you talk for a second.
You had a big yawn.
No, it just doesn't get made anymore because it isn't like complete or big enough. Like it is literally like the things that I like about it, where it doesn't explain the witch or the wish or whatever, and it doesn't have like a thing. It just literally is about it's very simple, where it's a 13-year-old in her 30-year-old body and she lives life.
I think this movie would do well today.
I do too.
I think rom-coms as a whole don't really exist today as much as they used to as a dedicated genre. I think I don't know.
There's always something. There feels like there always needs to be something else into it. Like
Yeah, there's always that like, how to lose a guy in 10 days. I'm going to write an article about that. Or,
did you see the
Just Friends, where he's a,
music producer guy?
yeah. Well, no, the gimmick is that he was morbidly fat,
Yeah.
morbidly obese.
And he became Ryan Reynolds.
And then he was Ryan Reynolds, like a stud.
And then did you? But even I'm trying to think. There's a movie that like just came out I feel like it was supposed to come out in April in theaters, but it came out on HBO in like June with Kumail Nanjiani. And
there's
Issa
The
Rae.
Big Sick.
Was it? No. It was
But
the
The
love.
Big Sick is actually a recent rom-com.
Yeah, but that's
I
like
like
an
that a
Oscar
lot.
rom com.
Yeah,
But see, that's the thing. It's like that's got
true.
that got Oscar stuff because it was also a drama. Like, but what was the last like, or it's like a take, or like, isn't it romantic or stuff like that, where it's like, it's a parody of a rom com. Like, I don't think that there's not that many true rom coms that happen theatrically anymore. I mean, nothing happens theatrically anymore.
Yeah.
But like, even in this, like, date night or game night, which could be like, sort of in the rom com. Have you seen Game Night?
Yeah. To me, I don't even take that as a rom-com. I
It's
take
not.
that as let's get famous, funny people whose best days are past them and get some nostalgia.
Ooh, damn, that
Wait,
man fucking.
who is it?
Are you talking about Date Night or Game Night?
Date Night is Steve Carell
And Tina Fey.
That one's good and not what I meant. But the Game Night,
Yeah.
that felt like a
Ooh, hard
a-
disagree with you, bud. That's a real fun, good movie.
Is that a recent the recent movie?
Yeah.
I'm just judging off the trailer. If you think it's good, then I guess I need to
Listen,
give it the time.
you can listen. We can have differing opinions.
Who's in it? I mean,
It's Jason Bateman, Rachel McAdams, Jesse Plemons,
I like Jason Bateman.
Eric Magnuson, Billy Magnuson.
Maybe I might be thinking of a different movie.
You might. I mean,
I'm thinking of like the home casino thing. with
oh,
like
that's
Jennifer
House Party. I want to
It's like
say
it's like Will Ferrell and Jennifer Aniston or something.
Yeah, it's Will Ferrell, and I want to say Amy Poehler.
Okay. Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of.
No, Game Night is like. You should watch Game Night. I'm not going to say
Okay.
anything about it.
All
It's
right.
real fucking funny, and it's real good.
All right. I like
Kyle
Jason
Chandler's
Bateman
in
and-
it. Kyle
Okay.
Chandler plays Jason Bateman's older brother.
Nice.
It's a real good movie. We could talk about that.
Want to do reviews?
Yeah, let's do some reviews because there's an interesting phenomena that happened in the reviews.
All right.
That it's just an interesting phenomena.
Time for
Two star
reviews?
review. This would be such a good movie with a different lead actress.
hard and disagree.
Yeah. Here's a 3.5-star review. Plot is pretty predictable, but Jennifer Garner's great acting makes it worth recommend.
Okay.
Uh,
I think I'm starting to sense the trend already, but I'm curious.
Jennifer Garner's energetic performance compensates for the cliches of the script and makes 13 Going on 30 a silly yet lovable rom-com.
That's a fair review.
Jennifer Garner is just not a very good actress, period, full stop. They should have made Judy Greer the lead, and then this movie would have been funny and charming.
And Judy Greer's too good at being who she is in this movie.
Yeah, Judy Greer's great.
Perfectly cast.
So 2-star review. So it's 13 Going on 30, and then Going on 0. I don't know whether it's more annoying to watch a rom-com featuring an immature main character with attention deficit or suffering through a preposterous premise that no one even tries to explain.
Oh, man.
Garner was grating. Ruffalo was almost a prop. There's just not much to like unless you regularly fantasize about falling in love with someone unstable. They're a super reviewer, too.
What? That person sounds... I hate when people... has been said to me a few times when I take things too seriously, but, like, I bet they're real fun at parties.
Yeah.
Like, that's that kind of person.
It's like, wow, good for you. Here's a 3-star review. Knew I was going to hate this, but Garner pushes it into enjoyable territory. So can you find my little trend that I found? It's that people either... There's no in between where
Yeah.
it's like people
You
hate
love it or hate it?
They either love it or hate it. Well, and especially consider it like with Jennifer Garner's performance.
That is interesting. Because I looked at the reviews of this and it was about a 64-ish.
Yeah.
I was like, that seems low. But if there's extremes, then that score makes sense.
I mean, it just is like, I don't think that she does a bad job.
No.
You know?
Like her performance early on was kind of I was like, okay, she's goofy, she's quirky, but I was kind of like, I don't know, I don't really like her. But then as it kept going and like she won me over with the performance, and I was like, she's doing a great job.
Yeah.
Like, this is awesome.
I think that she does a good job, and
Yeah.
I think that people are maybe blind to the fact that she's a 13-year-old inside of a grown woman's body, and
Yeah.
not that she should be like flopping and falling over because she's like, whoa, I've got boobies, I'm top heavy, or like my
Yeah.
feet are too big, you know. But it's like, no, she's got the enthusiasm is matched for a 13-year-old.
Yeah.
Like that's what I don't know. It's like it's a good performance. It's a good vibe.
Yeah.
She's having
And
fun.
Yeah, the fun she's having, the innocence of her perspective is fun and makes you kind of, I guess, feel good. Like the outlook.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you know, like, because like there's the drab and the cutthroat of being a professional, being an adult,
Mm-hmm.
and to introduce a child, I guess, essentially into that situation and to see how they look at it.
Yeah.
It was refreshing. I was like, oh, yeah, see, like maybe all this shit doesn't need to be this shitty, and we don't have to be mean to each other and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
So I don't. I mean, the reviews were. It was just funny that there was such a split where people were either like, "Yeah, great job, Jennifer Garner," or like, "Wow, fucking awful, Jennifer Garner," and there wasn't much like in between, and it was pretty consistent too.
Maybe she's just a polarizing person.
I think
Again, because I had not a great impression of her without a lot of knowledge, because it's not like I
yeah,
am a Jennifer Garner scholar. I just have the vibe I've
yeah.
picked up for wherever I've picked it up over the years.
I have a lot of respect for her, just because she dated Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
And was married to him and have kids with him. And not that he's a bad person, but it's like, you know, he's an alcoholic and he's said that he's an alcoholic, and she's like, hey, we're divorced, but also like
She stuck with him for a while too.
we're good.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know. I just have a lot of respect for her. And the fact that I was looking at her IMDb and she's like worked steadily. Like even if she's like sort of
I'm trying to think of things she's been in recently.
I don't know. She's like a voice on like a Mama Llama show or something like that. She's got a bunch of stuff that she does.
Well, what would you give this film?
I gave it 2.5 razzles out of 5, which is not a high rating. I understand, and maybe I should give it 3. But it's like it's not good, or for me, it's not good.
Yeah.
But also, it's like this is fun, and it's candy.
Yeah.
This movie's candy.
I gave it 3, just because it made me feel a lot of things. It was just a fun thing, and turning 28, I guess it made me look inward on a lot of things.
Yeah, I feel you, dog. I feel you.
Yeah. She's been in a lot of things, I guess.
She has been in a lot of things.
I did like The Kingdom. That's like a really gritty, bitter movie on the kind of the relations of the Western world and their influence in the Middle East.
Yeah.
It has I think Jason Bateman's in it, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, he is.
Huh.
Jason Bateman, Jamie Foxx, Jennifer Garner, and Chris Cooper are kind of like the American investigators that go in to check out this terrorist attack.
She's sort of
She's in Draft Day.
She is in Draft Day. She sort of switched into being the nice mom character.
Yeah.
Or the nice, or like probably like kind of a little bit how she is as a person, where it's like nice and kind and caring, but straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
And that's sort of the character that she plays, probably because it's close to who she is.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know, but I just want to say I'm a fucking Jennifer Garner stan, and I want to see her do some comedies. She's got good comedies.
Yeah. I mean, Cameron Diaz came in with a lot of comedies towards the end of her, not towards the end of her career, but
yeah.
in terms of recently, I'm not saying she's awesome at it, but like, I don't know, she has.
Cameron Diaz retired.
Oh, makes sense. I mean, she was kind of always in comedy. She was Something About Mary.
Something About Mary. I mean, she did
Parent Trap.
My Best
Not
Friend's
Parent
Wedding.
Trap. Meet the Parents.
Was she in Meet the Parents?
No, I'm just saying other rom-coms I'm remembering now.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry. They're coming back to me.
But yeah. No, I mean, yeah. Let's get some more Jennifer Garner.
Yeah.
Let's just give us more Jennifer Garner.
What have you been watching?
Whoa, hold on. Bring me a little bit more jazz with that intro into that segment. It was just like I was talking about Jennifer Garner. You're like, yeah, I'm fucking done talking about Jennifer Garner. So just tell me what you've been watching, bud.
Well,
so yeah, what I have been watching is I've been watching the original Watchmen.
nice.
The
movie?
Yeah, the movie.
Yeah.
I've been watching that.
Not bad.
Like
and we
segment
talked
by
about
segment.
it earlier.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not bad, but it is like I just watched the Snyder Cut trailer, and he fucking uses Hallelujah in Watchmen. I'm like, hey, Zach, get a new playlist.
Does he use it in?
He uses it in Watchmen, like when Owlboy and Silk Spectre are boning up there.
I remember that being a really long sex scene.
It's like, it is a pretty long sex scene. And I think that's one of the things, it's like, it actually is sort of earned, that sex scene. That one's sort of earned. And like, I remember going back and watching some movies where it's like, watching some like late 90s movies where it's like, these sex scenes really aren't earned. They're like kind of gratuitous and unnecessary.
It's like the HBO kind of thing. Like,
yeah.
HBO for a while, they've been trying to get out of it since. But it used to be really good dramas, really good production quality.
And then a boobies.
And then, a lot of full-on nudity. It was kind of like the HBO formula was awesome production value, really great drama.
Boobs.
Yeah.
Or a butt.
Yeah.
And then I also watched Jingle Jangle, A Christmas Story, or A Christmas Journey or something like that. It's a Netflix original with Forrest Whitaker. It's like a musical. It's fun. It's good. I think one of the best things about it is that it's just like a Christmas story, but it's all like black actors.
Oh.
So it's just, it's not cool. All. I think there might be, but it's just that's the world. It's like a fairy tale, and that's it. And it's just a story about Christmas, about this inventor guy who's doing his thing. But it's just, I don't know. It's just nice that it's not about them being black or like going through it or some like specific thing. It's just like a fun movie.
Yeah. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah,
I need to watch more holiday movies.
Yeah, get on it, dude. We're getting close.
I know, it's sneaking up. Is there anything, any others?
That's it for me, boss.
I watched Secrets of the Saqqara Tomb.
Ooh.
It's a documentary on Netflix. It's Egyptians, like actually Egyptians, not like American or British archaeologists. It's like Egyptians going through really cool tombs. It's like necropolis, and they're finding a bunch of cool shit.
Yeah, I saw that on Netflix.
It's really cool.
Huh.
I like it, and the passion of like actual Egyptians, how passionate they are of their history.
Yeah,
it's so nice to see. And then I saw Children of Men.
Mm-hmm.
Really good movie. Like
great movie.
Extremely good. I was like, because I remember it being good, but rewatching, I was like, damn. Especially today,
Mm-hmm.
and like
That oneer with the car.
Yeah, all the wonders are amazing. I mean, it's an amazing movie. If you don't watch 13 Going on 30, based off our recommendations, go watch Children of Men.
Yeah.
And then I'm also watching the Rome HBO show,
Okay.
which is really good. It was Game of Thrones before Game of Thrones on HBO,
Huh.
and it's sadly didn't carry on to a third season, but the first two are amazing.
Didn't a guy die? Or is that Spartacus I'm thinking of?
Spartacus is where the
lead actor.
he got cancer. They did a prequel season with a kind of adjacent character, and then
He got better?
he died.
Oh,
And then they're like, okay, well, let's do season 2 and recast.
gotcha.
Yeah,
Huh. Cool.
that's what I've been watching.
Hell yeah.
Well, join us next week,
Join
guys,
us.
as we talk about Flubber.
Yeah.
Robin Williams is Flubber.
Robin Williams is his Flubber. John Hughes is Flubber.
Yeah, you know where to find us.
But yeah, make sure you hit us up on Twitter at Stinky Podcast. Tell us what you think we should watch next. Why it does matter, the magic in 13 Going on 30.
Yes,
I know
explain
that.
the lore, please.
Yeah, I know that maybe there's some hints that we're missing. And tell us your favorite sandwiches, or how to stop John's computer from going into dark mode after.
Even when it's in full screen.
Even when it's in full screen after maybe 30 minutes, maybe 20 minutes. Tell us send us your best guess on how to fix that.
Yeah.
And rate and review the Stinky Podcast. Please, wherever you listen to that sweet podcast. And hey, we love you. And as they say,
Arrivederci.
huh?
Arrivederci.
And as they say in New York City, arrivederci.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.